What if I told you that not every Viking raided the West? Some turned their ships toward the sunrise, into a world of rivers, deserts, and faiths they had never heard of. They didn't come to burn, they came to trade. And what they found changed them forever. In the soil of Scandinavia, archaeologists have unearthed coins from distant lands, silver dirhams stamped with Arabic words. La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. How did Viking hands ever touch Islamic silver? How did the gods of thunder meet the God of mercy? This is that forgotten crossing, the story of the Rus, the Vikings who became Muslims. Before we begin their voyage, if you believe the past still has voices worth hearing, lend yours. Like this story, leave your thoughts in the river below and subscribe so you can travel with us when we uncover the next lost civilization. When we picture Vikings, we see fire and steel, longboats crashing into English shores, monasteries in flames, men shouting the names of Odin and Thor. But that is only one direction. While their kin sailed west toward war, others steered east into the unknown. They followed the waterways that cut through today's Russia and Ukraine. To them, the rivers were living creatures: Volga, Dnieper, Don. They paddled upstream through fog and forest, pulling their ships across stretches of land when the water ran out, then gliding again until the rivers widened toward the south. These eastern voyagers became known as the Rus. They built wooden towns where pine trees met marshland. Staraya Ladoga, Novgorod, Kiev. Their camps smelled of tar, fir, and wood smoke. They were merchants as much as warriors. Ambition replaced bloodlust. Their cargoes overflowed with furs, honey, wax, and slaves captured from the north. And what returned from the south was worth every risk: silk from Samarkand, glass from Syria, perfumes from Persia, and mountains of silver minted in Baghdad. To the Norse, the Islamic world seemed endless, dazzling, and strange. Their legends called it Sirkland, the land of the silk-clad. They couldn't yet imagine a religion without idols or a city greater than any in Europe, but their oars carried them closer to both. By the 10th century, the rivers of the north had become arteries pumping silver into Scandinavia. Dirhams, tiny perfect discs of Arabic calligraphy, filled Viking purses and burial mounds. One coin could buy a lifetime of bread in the north, but its true value was the mystery of where it came from. Historians once thought these coins were merely trade tokens. Now we know they were lifelines. They financed voyages, wars, and settlements. The very rise of the Rus kingdoms may have rested on silver that crossed deserts under the crescent moon before it reached the cold. Trade brought conversation. Conversation brought curiosity. And curiosity, if given enough time, changes faith. In 921 AD, an Arab emissary left Baghdad, Ahmad ibn Fadlan. His mission was simple: to teach new converts along the Volga how to properly live as Muslims. What he found was anything but simple. He met the Rus. He wrote, "I have never seen more perfect physical specimens, tall as palm trees, blonde and ruddy." They fascinated him. Their women wore silver rings, their men carried axes and combs. He praised their beauty and despised their habits. "They are the filthiest of God's creatures," he complained. "They wash neither after eating nor after intimacy." Ibn Fadlan watched them trade, feast, and mourn. He described a funeral so brutal it would echo through centuries. A slave girl volunteered to die beside her dead master, strangled and burned on the ship that carried his soul to Valhalla. To the civilized eyes of Baghdad, these men were savages. But something unexpected stirred beneath his disgust: respect, even connection. Some of the Rus, he wrote, asked about Islam. They wanted to understand prayer, fasting, and the words of the Quran. He taught them verses by the river. That moment, an Arab scholar standing in the snow teaching Norse traders how to pray, may have lasted only days, but it was enough for a few seeds to take root. Most of the Rus stayed pagan for generations. Others converted to Christianity later when the Byzantine Empire's influence grew. Yet scattered among them were men who carried a different faith home. Archaeology whispers their names now. Graves in Sweden face east toward Mecca. Textiles unearthed in Berkaber Kufic script woven into the fabric. Prayer beads of Middle Eastern design lie beside swords. These weren't forced conversions. There was no caliphate army marching north. They were personal awakenings, moments when trade became transformation. A Viking merchant might pray before battle in Arabic, then raise his cup to Thor by night. Identity, even then, was layered. From these river towns rose something greater, the first foundations of Kievan Rus, the ancestor of modern Russia and Ukraine. Their kings ruled from wooden halls lit by beeswax candles. Their merchants reached Constantinople and beyond. Some became the Varangian Guard, sworn protectors of the Byzantine emperors. Imagine it, blonde warriors standing before the golden domes of Hagia Sophia, swords gleaming under the sun of the south. The eastward journeys had changed them. They had seen cities larger than any in Europe, heard languages that bent like music, met people who measured wealth not in gold, but in words, and whether or not they adopted Islam fully, the encounter left its mark. Today, the Rus of the East are barely mentioned in textbooks. Yet without them, half of Europe's history makes less sense. They connected worlds, north and south, pagan and monotheist, the frozen and the fertile. History often remembers conquerors, but these were connectors. They didn't build empires, they built roots. And roots change the world more quietly than wars. Their story reminds us that civilization doesn't grow from isolation. It grows from meeting strangers. It's the sound of languages blending on a riverbank. It's the sparkle of a coin passed from one belief to another. It's a reminder that humanity's greatest discoveries are rarely planned. Somewhere between the snow and the sand, the Viking and the Muslim met, and both were changed forever. If stories like this remind you how far humanity has traveled, let others hear them too. Like the journey, share it so the story sails again. And subscribe to Lowkey Arc, because history isn't just the past, it's our memory.